We think that when creativity happens, it happens sort of magically, and that there are either really highly structured sort of traditional environments, or there are creative environments where you don't have to put any structure on it. But with design thinking, what we're saying is that there's a highly structured environment that fosters creativity.
It gets you hands-on experience. It gets you to actually see and not just see from a seat. It gets you involved.
Students stop what they're doing, and we call those stop, drop, and design days, and they work on the design challenges.
We basically are given a question, and then we have to come up with all of these solutions to answer that question.
In the 9th grade, the quarter 4 challenge is how might we ensure our community has access to healthy, clean water.
We have been incorporating the topic of water in all of math, English, social studies, and science. First day of the design challenge, we pass out packets and we pass out journals to the students.
We got interview questions here, and then we got some answers that they gave us. Then this is like the insight of like what we saw and what we right, basically prior knowledge.
What's the next phase of the design process?
I don't know. It's very important for them to know the steps, to have that structure.
I know all the steps, and I really do think it's important.
The phases that we teach and that we talk about are empathy, define, ideate, prototype, feedback, and reflect.
It then gives them the structure that they need to come up with these ideas that can go beyond the structure.
We had to learn the steps as part of our grade, and also our form teacher always plays this PowerPoint over and over before we started, so everyone remembers it.
I think it's important because you have to basically go through all the steps to know what you're doing and do it in an orderly fashion, so you can get an A on it, or be organized.
It just becomes second nature for you.
During the empathy phase, we want to get students out into the community, into the field, learning about the problem or issue at hand, and we want to provide experiences for them that give them a hook into that have them start to care about the issue, and particularly to develop empathy for a particular person or group of people that have a perspective or have some experience with that issue.
Empathy is basically putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and just seeing how would your user feel about a certain situation.
The teachers should have the students go out instead of just being in one classroom doing a project. They should go out and interact with other people, maybe doing a poll or something.
Have the kids go places that have to do with the design challenge.
Or going outside the school and questioning, going to a building, asking about their water crisis or something, or anything that they feel like might help them with their project.
So they can get moving and learn stuff, the hands-on and stuff like that.
Hook that gets students interested in a particular problem and gives them a place to sort of land and a user to think about.
And the tank is filled with bacteria, and we're going to use the bacteria to eat the organics.
We stopped and talked to a chemist. We stopped and talked to the guy who runs the control panel.
First thing we have are the screens.
You have to design for the specific need of the user.
It's called denitrification.
If someone asks a question and you can build off of their question at the plant, then build off of their question. We prep them beforehand. Get them to write out questions first. If we just took them there and they didn't have any questions already written, then it would be hard for them just to come up with questions off the top of their head.
What if that computer go out? There's backups. And if the computer goes out, as I tell them, do what they did in the old days, walk out there and press the button. What if that button don't work?
Actions, what you heard, feelings, thoughts, and what are their thoughts? What do you think that they're thinking? So it's all user-centered, not any of us centered.
you know, get sticky notes, write down anything you want. Whether it's crazy, it can be anything. And you can just stick it up on the board.
10 minutes, as much as you can. Remember, or from notes that you took at the plant, or things that you remember from the article, the Jay-Z clip. One idea per sticky note.
Take the knowledge that we already know, put it on paper, plus what we learned today from the waterworks plant. What I heard right here from everybody, and the actions, put ourselves in the our users' shoes, basically by seeing their actions, what we heard from them, their feelings, and then their thoughts. Just put all the posters on the board, like in the category they are in, and then just like look at, like come together as a group and just look at what, each person in our group had to say about each category.
The chemist's actions. What do they do in that room? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then you could do each category for every single person that we talked about. The chemist, the control panel worker, the tour guide, the woman in Africa, Jay-Z. You could do that for every single one. So that's how, you can end up generating so much more. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm.
So in the define stage, the students are taking all of the ideas, the things that they've learned in their interviews, their research, their observations, and doing a lot of synthesis, talking amongst each other about what's most important, and then using that conversation to define a user and their need and an insight about that user and that need. So we call that a problem statement or a user need statement.
Diane is a tall, African, skinny teenager. I say she's a teenager, but she's young. And she's providing water from a distance from her home for her family.
It's really important to hit on that specific need, so that because it's actually easier to design when you're designing for a specific need.
And we decided to go with her as our user because, for one, we could put ourselves in her shoes because we're African Americans, we're females, so we do go through struggles, but not as bad as her struggles. So we feel like she shouldn't have to go through the stuff that she has to go through.
Once all the notes are on the board, you're going to take time to review the notes and start seeing connections between things or patterns that you see. So if everybody in your group said the same thing, then maybe that's an area that you should focus on.
So you could actually start with the verb to transport and organize belongings. She needs to do it efficiently because she's running late, she doesn't have a lot of time. So really, that's the most important part.
Our point of view statement was, young, working, dedicated Diana needs to get healthy, clean, fresh water for her family because of the lack of clean water in her community.
During the ideate stage, they flare back out again. They generate as many ideas as possible, wild and crazy ideas, off of the one how might we, or the series of how might we questions that they come up with during the define stage.
But if you give up and give them the answer or give them the how might we or the solution, then they're just going to always wait on you to give them the answer. So just, be patient with them and keep talking them through it because they will rise to that expectation.
Ideate is basically just taking your ideas and just like putting them on the board and stuff like that. Like just coming up with different ideas in your head, and as a group, come together and just put them all together.
From the videos we've seen with Jay-Z, the little girl, the lady in Detroit, and basically just putting ourselves in their shoes and how we should be able to help them.
The picture is giving a visual of what we see from our point of view.
I drew pictures because as they were drawing the words, they was basically explaining why this stuff is important and why we use it, and I was just showing y'all Infinity said visual and what happens and what we can do.
Right now we're just in the idea and brainstorm process where we basically get our how might we's, we ideate, which is what we did here. How might we develop a cheaper way to transport water? I get a couple ideas.
We get more information on what we like studying about it instead of that one day where we just go over it and then forget all about it. But we get more time to study and more time to, you know, elaborate on what we're learning about.
But we would have to buy that. We instead of us coming out our money, we can print that off. We can print pens off and just show like I donated, or I'm bringing awareness for the water crisis in Angola, Africa.
People donate food. They donate like light.
The prototype is a chance for students to take an idea that might be abstract and to make it concrete so that they can get feedback on it and improve it.
One thing I like about design thinking is the whole creation process. I love to make the prototypes. That's like the best part for me. The research behind it is also awesome because you get insight into what the user needs, but I like the creation the best because, you know, I'm a very creative individual, so I like to create things, and it's really nice when I can do that.
I'd say try to make them hands-on, and you can make 3D models of it, because I personally have more fun and create better ideas when I get to create something, and instead of just do a slideshow like click, click.
Just get really attached to their ideas, and it's hard for them to get critical feedback. And the longer they spend on the prototype, the harder it is for them to get the feedback. So I was already noticing that coming out of the ideate stage, my group was, the group that I was working most closely with was fleshing out their idea and getting really excited about it and talking for 15-20 minutes, and that was probably too long already. So coming out of that, we said, let's take 10 minutes and have them prototype, and at the end of 10 minutes they have to be done and ready to share with another group. One student said that wasn't enough time, and I think that should always happen.
This is basically like a prototype from our ideas that we had picked. We picked 2 ideas and basically me and her, we split, actually we were before we split into 2. We are basically focusing on like fire free dress. Free dress. And then they are doing like the benefit concert.
We're trying to make a water filter like that, so that way when the water goes in, it can be purified. So that way, many people who get contaminated water can just get it through and run it through this, and yeah.
Just to test out what we are trying to do, like just to see like how would it, how would it look.
The best part.
I always post this, like glue it in, or you can just punch the hole or something like that.
Watch out, Chris. Watch your hand.
There we go.
Water filter. You see the water comes in through
this pipe right here.
This
and then
pipe.
You can see the water being.
This is the space where it gets clean, and this is where it comes out.
How would we look for the dance concert? And they doing the these are like the little name tags that they go to wear.
I like the prototype phase because I like hands-on projects. Right. I like to like actually put my ideas like to work. Like just see where how my idea can go to paper to something 3D.
So in the feedback stage, students have been working on their prototype, they've quickly put something together, and now's the chance for them to get feedback on that from a user or from one another with the goal of getting ideas and suggestions to make that idea stronger.
It's good for the students to hear somebody else talk about their prototype, because it's just been the 4 of them and only their ideas going into it. So if they can get another perspective from somebody, they can launch their prototype into something that they wouldn't have even imagined, but because they got the feedback from someone else and a different perspective from someone else, they're able to do a lot more with it.
So we're going to pretend that I'm a group and I have an idea, and my user in this case is Miss White. I'm going to try to get her permission to be able to do our idea.
It's good for you, but how do you know it's good for everyone?
Oh, well, I mean, who's walking that good for? And I think it's should be writing down comments, questions, things they like, things they don't like. Decide in your group right now who's going to write down the feedback that you get.
Our concert, we gonna have different people donate because they want to know, the cost. And the organization we donate to is called Water for Life, and we try to help children in different areas that can't get good water. which is Bella. So this is a little model of our benefit concert. This is like the stage, and in the middle of the floor is going to say Water for Life. All the money we get is going to Water for Life.
So go back and talk about what changes you might want to make to your prototype. And I think we're going to do it again in about 10 or 15 minutes, and then you're going to present to another group and get feedback from them.
And then you have to buy tickets. You have to buy tickets for other people, not so it's like it should be $3 per extra person, yeah. But altogether it should be like $15 because that's like that's not a lot. Our idea is better, or it's either changing or keeping it the same. It's just like basically kind of getting more help and running the wrong way, or just just taking the ideas from other people. They gave us a good suggestion to write down what we serve, so people can know.
One of the suggestions he gave was about the price, and like that was really helpful because we really didn't think about the price.
Us making the prototype, we coming from our perspective of what we like, and somehow of what other people like, or having other people come give us feedback. It's also coming from people who will actually come, so we will know what to add and what not to add. For the dance and the free dress, we're going to have people pay $15 altogether. And that includes the free dress, the dance, and you get food served and snacks and drinks at the dance, plus fun and music and stuff like that. And
this is mainly focusing on Bella, right? What about the other countries and stuff that don't have that?
Well, okay, our design challenge is going to Africa, period, like the whole thing in Africa, but our design challenge is based on Bella. If you was to come to this, what would you want to see there?
You can hold more activities than just that, like something more unique.
The money that we're making is not going towards the dance. The money we are making is all going to be donated to Bella. So we would have to come out of our pockets to pay for that stuff.
The tickets, like you get one of these where you pay to get in, and it's cost $15. Water for Life. It's like the same thing you would see in the Jay-Z video that he met this girl named Bella, and she basically walked miles and miles to get water.
So because we use the design process as a learning process, we think it's really important for students to reflect after they've done a design challenge about what worked well, both in terms of their idea, but also in terms of how they worked in their groups, and what didn't work well and what would they change next time.
The last thing that we're going to do is evaluate your mastery of design thinking.
I say getting past the hard parts, such as defining a problem statement, and what we did was we used the sticky notes and we did each part and like answered each part using sticky notes. So it was giving multiple ideas and answers, and then we just chose one.
Well, the skills or methods that I felt that I mastered was empathy, because I got to compare and contrast my life to better life.
Center the design challenge around topics that the students are interested in.
I'm very specific. I have to be very specific. And I think that's good for teachers to know, okay, what do I need to do and what should I be seeing the students do at this time. And it just helps your day run a lot smoother if you know what you're doing, as opposed to, oh, I'm going to do this randomly at this time. It's just easier to have it laid out for you specifically.
You need to be flexible at all times. It's good to have a structure, it's good to have a schedule, but you have to be able to throw that all out if things change.
We've found that having the tight time and being very clear about the time actually increases the energy.
Teachers to give the students a deadline for the project so they won't be just sitting around waiting until the last minute to do something.
We try to make groups of students where some of them that are quieter will probably be with some that are more social, so that it's not just a group of quiet kids, but some kids that can articulate themselves really well, and students that can't, so that those students can pull out, you know, talkative qualities in these students.
The teachers should be more enthusiastic, and then the kids will be enthusiastic.
The students definitely feed off of the teachers, so if their energy is very low, the students' energy is going to be very low. And if their energy is very high, even the students that had energy that was low in the beginning, they'll come to your level. So they mimic exactly what the teacher does. the last design challenge when we talked about crime in our community and we focused on bullying, that's something that all of them could relate to because it's something that, you know, happens in school and happens just in their age range. So they were very passionate about it and they wanted everybody to know how they felt about it.
It's important for us to be able to carry out our design prototypes and our design challenges because it gets kids more enthusiastic with design challenges. Because it can bring everybody in there, make everybody aware of the water crisis, not just here but everywhere. So it can help a lot.
I love about design challenges where you get to interact with the community.
One of the most successful design challenges that we did in the 7th grade was designing an outdoor community garden.
Last year, I know the 8th graders, it was how can we design a garden space for the outside world.
We interviewed a user, so the students took the user needs, went back to school, and they came up with a presentation that hit all of those needs. The user ended up coming back to our school.
They went to a garden and actually like painted the picnic tables and redid it, so I think that's the most fun part about it.
He actually picked all the designs that he liked and all of those designs came to life, and now the students drive by and they get to see that the picnic tables are based on the environment.
Giving a young person a chance to give their voice or be open-minded about anything, and then other people taking that in on what they're saying, and they actually know that they're being heard instead of just talking and then people bursting off.
And even today a student said, I liked the design challenge when we talked about bullying and cyberbullying, but just that they're still talking about it later and they're able to articulate, you know, their feelings, their thoughts. That's how I measure success.